You see, and that after all this body has to die one day. Whosoever takes birth has to leave. That is changing reality. Whatever is changes, whatever we see in the world outside, it is changing at every moment. And that is what is known as the world outside. And in the world outside, we have our, we have our life of pleasure. We seek pleasure from the objects. You can say that is our personal life. And then we have majority, the professional life. And so what we say dharma, and we have more or less a life of right intellect. Right intellect means that we follow the rules of the nation, rules of the law, and rules of the road. All the three things are important, but all the three things are constantly changing. So our master says that there is an inner life also. The life of inner beauty, inner peace, inner calmness, inner happiness, inner love, inner wisdom. You see that outer life is ruled by ego. I'm not saying that ego is bad. When I address myself as I'm living in the house, I have kids, and etc. So this is also a part of the ego. So whether I address myself, I have wealth or I do not have, I am rich or poor, this is all about the ego is living the life, personal life, professional life, social life. But then there is a life inside, that is what we say, the life of a real self. This is the first thing that we should know. The entire Eastern wisdom talks about inner life, all the 3,000 masters. Yajnavalkya was a great master who lived almost 4,000 years ago. He had 2 wives. 4,000. He was the chief minister in a court of a king. So after living a life for more than 40 years, when he was 60 or 65, he called one day both the wives and he said, I have divided the entire wealth equally to both of you. So there was Maitreyi. Maitreyi was his wife. So I have decided to go into the Himalayas to meditate for a longer period. Yajnavalkya was a very wise minister and a monk and a master. He had taught the princess and the king. So in the late evening, one of his wife was Maitreyi. So Maitreyi thought, you see that we have to think. We stop thinking about who am I? Why I know my name, my profession, my personal life, my kids, my everything I know. So we take it for granted and we continue to suffer. So Maitreyi went to her husband Yajnavalkya and asked. First she said, I can't believe it. Why I can't believe that you are going to a forest? Why I can't believe it? Because you are one of the wisest people in the kingdom. And now you are wise and you are leaving the kingdom. You are leaving the entire wealth. It means because you are wise, there is something greater than what you have achieved in your life. So, can I accompany you? I have already given the entire wealth to the second wife. Not many people think like this. The second wife, she was very happy. She said, okay, thank God this old man is going. Now I will live my life. But this Maitreyi, so there is a dialogue. That is what the Upanishad, the dialogue continues. This is what we have to think. So the Maitreyi asked, after all, what you are going for in the forest? So he said, come on, my honey, I am going to continue to live a life of meditative state for years to reveal further knowledge and the wisdom. But I have reached to a state where I can tell you why I am going. So he said, honey, listen to me. What to listen to me? Then he started. The husband love wife not for the sake of a wife, but for the sake of himself. The son loves his father not for the sake of father, but for himself. Wife loves the husband not for the sake of husband, but for the sake of wife, herself. Question comes, how come it is so? In the modern world we say soulmate, one soul, two bodies. We normally talk about. It's a different matter. After a few years, that soulmate becomes soulmate. And then we divorce. Still we say, I love you, but I'm divorcing. Come on, what a crazy mind you have. I love you, but I have some problem with you. That is why I. Now here the master raises a question. He says, if you like a person, then only you love a person. If you dislike a person, do you love that person? The answer is no. You see, first there is a liking. That liking a person, I fall into love. I do not rise in love. So, from where the liking comes? Liking comes from the mind. So, liking means I am seeking a pleasure. So, that pleasure may mean love. That pleasure may mean satisfaction. But one thing is very important. I like a person, then only I love. If I dislike a person, that love is gone. Second question comes, is liking for the sake of happiness? Answer is yes. So if it is so, then happiness is present in the husband, wife, son, people. So Yajnavalkya asked, and no. Happiness, I feel the happiness inside, while loving you. So it means happiness is present in the mind, not in a person outside. The entire journey of the Eastern wisdom is very much logical. There is nothing about belief, dogma, cult, religion at all. So now see where we have reached. I like a person because I feel happiness within myself. I dislike a person because I feel unhappy being with that person. It means happiness and unhappiness I experience within the mind. So now the next question comes, is happiness belongs to the mind? So our master says, this happiness do not belong to the mind. It comes from the real self. It comes from the pure consciousness. Our true nature is of the nature of permanent happiness, love, and wisdom. How do you say that? That brings us to another explanation. First thing, for example, first step, I like pasta. Example. So that liking means the mind sticks to the object that is pasta. So when it sticks like a gum in the mind with the pasta because of liking, my mind continuously think of it subconsciously. That constant thinking creates a desire for the pasta. Desire projects the happiness in the pasta. That has happened deeper inside. See that? It applies to soulmate. It applies to the relationship with the people. Any kind of relationship. Pay attention. I like pasta. Why I like pasta? Because it may give me happiness. My mind is constantly thinking. Thinking creates a desire to possess pasta, but that constant thinking creates an agitation in the mind. I want this, I want this, I want this, I want this. That we are not aware. So we pick up the phone and now we want to possess pasta. So we order a pasta. It gives me little more happiness in the mind. But the mind is constantly agitated to enjoy pasta. So as the mind starts the agitation because it is seeking something outside. We enter into anxiety, stress, duality, conflict, insecurity, fear only because the mind is seeking something outside. We have to think of it. You do not think, no, you don't understand, I love, no, I have to ask myself. I have to ask. So when you ask, your mind opens up. Where if your mind opens up, then it starts thinking. The very non-thinking and the mind is moving habitually, taking for granted that pasta will give me happiness. So the agitation. Now the pasta is on the table. I start eating it. So the agitation in the mind calms down during eating, and the mind says pleasure is in the pasta, but What happened? Because the agitation has gone down, it is dropped, it is dissolved while eating the pasta. The real self reflects in the absence of agitation, and we experience happiness inside, which we claim it comes by eating pasta. It comes by having I love you, that is why I am happy. Look at it. The way our mind is working. So that is why we say move the mind from outside to inside. Why? To drop that object and the connection of the object with the mind. Whether that object is a person, that object is a human being. It is very easy to understand based on the Eastern wisdom. In Eastern wisdom, in Sanskrit language, we say that object or a person outside as Vishaya. Vishaya. So what is the definition of that object which creates in the mind a sense of likes and dislikes? Your mind will instantly tell, do you like pasta? Yes or no. Do you like pizza? Yes or no. I like pasta, pizza. The mind instantly starts creating a thought of like and the dislike. And then the thinking continues. And that thought, an object, sticks like a gum. And once the liking starts or disliking starts, a lot of thought pattern creates a desire, and the desire projects happiness in that object or a person. Ask those people who have divorced. Did you love? Yes. I loved the other person much more than I loved myself. Really? Then why you left? Why you divorced? That love was nothing but based on the liking and disliking and attachment. So when we say the mind has to move inside, it means we want to break that bond created unconsciously, liking and disliking for an object. So once we create a bond at the first level, we break the bond at the first level, then the mind goes further within. As the mind moves, it starts dropping all the thoughts. When it starts dropping the thought, the agitation in the mind drops. And the real self reflects the calmness and peace. That is why we say mindfulness or meditation gives that state of the calmness and peace. How can you say it? In deep sleep, there is no body, there is no mind. And when you wake up from the deep sleep, you say, how refreshing, how happy I was. So, consciously, if we leave the body and the mind by the practice of meditation, we experience the same peace and happiness. It is a fact, proven fact, that in deep sleep we are neither the body, we are not the mind. We don't know. Mind doesn't know where we are sleeping. Once we fall into deep sleep, whether we are sitting here in US sleeping in US or in India, on which bed, in which county. No, we don't know anything. So that mind which has a clinging, sticking like a gum with a place, with a wrong notion that this will give me the happiness, they all are dropped. When everything is dropped, we experience happiness which is already there inside. Now apply this in life. No, you don't understand. I have an anxiety. How come you have an anxiety? The moment you have it, start thinking. Just telling your mind that peace is definitely inside. Let me explore how the anxiety comes. One thing is sure, whether it is anxiety, reaction, anger, depression, and other stuff in the mind that causes the insecurity, it comes because the mind with the thought sticks to an object. It may be, that object may be the anxiety. No, I will have it. So how do you know? By thought. Thought gives you the knowledge. So can I change the thought? If you are aware, you can change the thought, and that will go away. So there is one process by which you were a non-thinker and you start thinking, it goes away. The other way is to practice, remove all the distractions completely. So when all the distractions are gone from the mind, including the thought of an anxiety, you are already in peace. So first way that we purify the intellect. The intellect is not sitting in the anxiety. Intellect is not sitting in the love for others. Intellect is sitting with the real self. That we can achieve by thinking, constantly contemplating and reflecting. Second process of mindfulness is that we have lot of distractions, means the thoughts. Once those thought enters into the mind and causes some reaction, causes blame and complaining, causes the anxiety. So okay, let us practice meditation and make the mind totally empty. So when we empty the mind, there is no distraction. We again experience, we move into the same state. Then there is another way that we say, here is an image of a god, Shiva or Krishna or Jesus, whatever it is. So I contemplate and reflect in the meditation that here is an image of the Shiva, which is of the nature of permanent peace and happiness. I keep the mind focused through feeling and emotion. That is another way. So like this, we have hundreds of ways of moving into that state of meditation. So let us see, I believe you heard me, so let us start our practice. Eyes are closed. So we will move into a small, easy, wonderful practice. Whatever we discussed, we will focus on the practice. Eyes are closed. So when we say eyes are closed, what we want to remove the distractions. Distractions, or you can say the wandering mind, or you can say the forgetfulness mind, or you say the mind is constantly subjected to the thoughts. That we want to empty. But we want to empty with understanding and the practice. Very good. So eyes are closed. Why you close your eyes? Because you don't want to receive any knowledge of any object of the world outside. That is why we close our eyes. Now otherwise you see a great paradox. What is the paradox? Or to find myself, I have to close my eyes. And to see, to know the world, I have to keep my eyes open. What a paradox. But that is true. So now, mind has entered unorganized with its thoughts, feeling, and the impressions in every cell of the body. Because it has entered, so we have to be comfortable. We have to remove those unorganized entry of the mind into the body. So what we do, you look at the neck joint. So just understand what it means by looking at the neck joint. Oh, looking at the neck joint means feeling, yes. What is that feeling? Is it a feeling of comfort? Then you are definitely looking at the neck joint. And if it is not comfortable, means what? The mind is somewhere thinking subconsciously, habitually, and still you claim that your mind is on the neck joint. So what I say, that is why I say, move the mind on the neck joint, be there, feel. What do you feel? Sensation, comfort, and steadiness. Move the mind on the shoulder joints. Be there. Where? Are you there, attentive of the shoulder joints? So you start feeling the sensation, comfort, and steadiness, and that continues. Means what? You have taken care of that mind which entered into the body because of the constant subjected to these objects of the world. And when you feel sensation, comfort, and steadiness, the mind is clear. You see that what we discussed, when the mind moves inside, when it moves inside, then it should drop. That sense of likes and dislikes. So because it continues in the mind, that is why we experience the mind is wandering. The mind moves to the hip joint, feel that. Feel the sensation, comfort, and steadiness. So we don't take it intellectually, we take it with a feeling. Move the mind on the entire body. The mind moves on the entire body. And you start feeling the sensation. You also see that you're comfortable. Very good. By moving within and living within. That is our goal. Now still some thoughts are still there, even if I feel there is a comfort and there is a steadiness. No worries, my friend. So we look at the thoughts. What is looking at the thoughts? You are aware of the thought that enter into the mind, and it stays, it leaves, it disappears, and then the second thought comes. That is how I say my mind is wandering. That is the distracted mind. Now you contemplate and reflect. Is the thought you or it is separate from you? So we find, because thoughts are coming and going, they are separate from me. Can I see these thoughts are separate from me, different from me? And the moment you see these thoughts and are separate from you, what it means? Maybe, say just an example, a thought of anxiety enters into the mind and you say, no, I'm not the thought. This is a thought of anxiety, there is no anxiety. Sometimes the thought of pleasure with reference to an object comes, no problem. What do you say? This is only a thought, I'm different from the thought. You say to it and then you look at the thought. Check that what happens. What will happen? You can separate the thought from yourself. And when you are able to separate all the thoughts from yourself, you are free. You see that we did nothing. It is our thought process. We invoke the mind to start thinking instead of not thinking and taking anxiety reaction for granted. My master used to say, even for a week you start thinking the way I am thinking, the way our masters have been thinking. The very thought process will disconnect you from the anxiety reaction, etc., etc. This is what happens. Now in that state, the mind triggers us. Oh, no, it's okay, but so the but how the mind triggers? You don't think. So we say it comes from the past impression, the accumulated impressions, cumulative effect. Anything can trigger into the mind and disturbs that poise, that comfort, that being carefree. So it means we have to deal with those impressions which are totally unknown to me. So we continue the journey. That is why you already know it. So you can do it by yourself even when you are independent. So because we have to move the mind within, these impressions takes us outside. So what should we do? Just look at the head and the neck and allow the mind to move on each and every cell of the skin, of the head and the neck. As you move, you start experiencing deepening of the sensation, tingling. This is what I say: sensation, relaxation, and stillness. Can we follow the same step to the major parts of the body? Why? To allow the mind to settle and prevent the impressions in the mind to trigger the mind, that then the mind will go out and we will miss the practice. So there is a sense of steadiness in the body. Thoughts are coming and going, let it come and go, no issue. And we continue our journey. So you are looking at the right arm. How you are looking at the right arm? You make the mind little active. How you make it active? You move the mind to see, to touch every cell of the skin of the right arm, from the shoulder to the fingertips. You're doing it slowly. You take your time. So as you move the mind, how do you know that you have moved? You experience the sensation, relaxation, and stillness. Now move the mind in the same way. We are not in a hurry. You keep looking. The left arm means looking means the mind is aware of the skin, sense of touch, and ultimately we experience sensation, relaxation, and stillness. Move the mind on the chest and the belly. You see, I'm giving you the same step, but you have to raise your awareness that you are not in a hurry, that your mind touches this cell means, how do you know that? It will increase and deepen the sensation. And when it deepens the sensation, relaxation and stillness, then we know what it means by moving the mind within. Look at the right leg. Same way, looking at the right leg in a same way. You are waiting. The mind is moving consciously. And when it is moving consciously, what do you see? You see sensation, relaxation, and stillness. You're moving the mind on the left leg from the right side of the waist to the toes. So when you're moving it slowly, feel the sensation, relaxation, and stillness. So you see that the mind should not be running fast in the practice. When it is not running fast, it means why it is running fast? Because it is picking up lot of impressions. Why it is picking up lot? That is what we say, the wandering mind. So let the thought continue, and we are separate from the thought and we are doing the practice. That is what I am saying. Now we experience the state of sensation, relaxation, and stillness. Now, in that state of the body and the calmness and relaxation of the mind can continue to live within. So, here inside, we can introduce hundreds of steps that we have done a couple of times. So, today we will take a simple step. Look at the breath is going in and out. Pay attention to the breath going in and out. But you are not changing the rate and the rhythm of the breath. What it means when I say do not change the rate and the rhythm of the breath. Because if you change the rate and the rhythm of the breath, the mind will go back to its old habit of distraction. Oh, is it that so? We will understand that in the next session. But just you are aware of the breath. Aware of the breath means you're not changing the rate and the rhythm of the breath. So when you're looking at the breath, not changing the breath, you look inside every time the breath goes in. Let the mind look deep inside the heart in the space with saying Shantoham, I am the peace. You see the space, you say Shantoham, I am the peace, and you see the infinite space. When the breath comes out, you see the infinite space and Shantoham, I am the peace. you're living deeper within, in the state of nothingness, emptiness, in the space. That is where, when we extend that period of emptiness, the knowledge of the real self reveals. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Bring your awareness on the right hand, your awareness on the left hand. Lift your both of arms, place it on your eyes, open the eyes inside. Bring the hands down. How are you?
Very strange. I had to fight sleepiness. I don't know it.
Yes.
It was strange.
Yes. It means it was a deep.
Very strange.
So it was a deeper relaxation.
I'm sorry?
It was a deeper relaxation. And then what happens? There are 9 obstacles, and one of the 9 obstacles is mind wants to fall into sleep. It doesn't want to maintain awareness.
That's it. Yeah. Very strange.
Yeah. It happens. So it may happen because of the habit. It may happen because of something triggered into your mind. So lot of reasons. There are 9 obstacles. We'll understand it step by step. So that causes the sleepiness. Otherwise, meditation is a state of awareness.